shall we begin?
Let the games begin.
All right.
A new age has begun. An age of freedom.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Get to the chopper!
This is going to be quite the ride.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Movie Pit Podcast. I'm your host, Christian, returning to a slightly normal, usual recording spot. I am not actually recording this at work this week, so although there might be some portions recorded at work, so just bear that in mind if, the audio changes at, some point throughout the podcast. But hello, this is Movie Pit Podcast, where I talk about all the latest breaking movie news. Of course, this week we were very trailer heavy. It was a very trailer heavy week this week, so we have a lot of trailers to get to, and of course some of the movie news items that came out this week. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Surprisingly, no real big movie news items came out after the podcast went up last week, mainly because I probably uploaded the podcast late, so that's probably a good reason why. But so we're going to go right into the trailers. Like I mentioned, a lot of trailers come out this week, so we're just going to not speed right through them, but we're going to talk about them. What I tried to say. So the first trailer we're going to talk about is the first trailer for the new M. Night Shyamalan movie titled Old has come out. It's inspired by a French graphic novel called Sandcastle, which I've never heard of. Maybe some of you have, and if you have, then you probably know kind of what's in store. Although it's inspired by, not based on. So there is that to take into consideration. But the thriller follows a family and strangers, of course, on a tropical island, or a tropical holiday, I should say, who discovered that a secluded beach they were relaxing for a few hours is somehow causing them all to age rapidly. We got our first look at the movie during the Super Bowl. This is one of the first Super Bowl trailers that came out, or spots anyway, that came out this year. It feels like so long ago. But this was one of the first ones that we saw, and we finally have a longer look at what's going on. It's very intriguing, to say the least. Like, the concept itself is very intriguing, obviously. Gael Garcia Bernal, Vicky Krieps from, I think I'm pronouncing her last name wrong, but she was the woman from A Phantom Thread. Rufus Sewell's in here. Abby Lee's in here, although she's not, I didn't see her in the I think she's the body they find, at least from what I can remember. Alex Wolff is in here, of course, from Hereditary. Alicia Scallan's in here. Thomasin McKenzie, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well. They all star in the movie. This was really interesting, intriguing, to say the least, for sure. Obviously, M. Night Shyamalan, last movie he directed was Glass, which was a sequel to Split. And, obviously he's kind of getting back in the train. The Visit was kind of his return to, to Hollywood after, after going away for a while. But this one looks, again, rather intriguing. I like the concept of it kind of takes place probably in a single day, at least from the looks of it. It doesn't look like they're there for a while. At least from the early synopsis, it said that when they're causing them to age rapidly, living their entire life within a day. So that's the early synopsis. I think that's still a synopsis out there that I read, but the place where I saw the trailer kind of just cut that off. So again, I think it's kind of cool. We do see the little kids, that grow up. Thomasin McKenzie and Alex Wolff play the brother and sister in the movie, and it looks like they'll probably be the main stars, at least are kind of one of our main focuses throughout it. So I don't know. I really can't say too much about the trailer. I was intrigued by the trailer. I think it's a cool concept. I think it's definitely one of those movies that will be helped by not giving too much away in the promo material. So I have to wait and see. Obviously, there's that thing with at the end of the trailer with they're in the cave and we don't see what they see, but I'm assuming it's going to be something horrifying probably. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Old will open on July 23rd in theaters. Obviously, probably sometime a little bit after that. It is a Universal movie. Universal has that deal where they'll put their movies out, was it like 15 days or something like that after they've been in theaters. So, we won't have to wait too long for that one. The next trailer we're going to talk about is Amazon and Prime Video's newest movie, The Tomorrow War, that stars Chris Pratt, who leads the cast as an everyman who is recruited for a time-traveling mission to the future to save the Earth from certain destruction. This is directed by Chris McKay, who directed the Lego Batman movie. This is his first live-action movie he's directing. The Tomorrow War also co-stars Yvonne Strahovski. Looks like she's playing a scientist from the future, who Chris Pratt and the other cast members meet. J.K. Simmons is also in the movie. He's playing Chris Pratt's estranged father, who looks like he goes with him into the future. Betty Giplin is playing Chris Pratt's wife in the movie. Edwin Hodge from the Purge franchise, he's going to be in there as well. Looks like he's one of the people that was recruited. Sam Richardson is also one of those people as well. I'm kind of looking forward to this. I like the concept, despite some of the holes, like if you're time traveling, why don't you try and time travel a little further back in time before you have to do, obviously there's little holes in there, but whatever. I still think it's kind of cool. We do get brief shots of the aliens, like very brief shots. It looks, I'm sure there's probably people that, have freeze framed it, but I haven't, dug deep, haven't dug that deep yet. But they do have, looks like they have like arms and legs. They kind of almost look like the Quiet Place monsters almost, at least from the looks of it. The quick glimpses that we see. The biggest thing for me is that I noticed this immediately when I saw it. Because you put the two together. I think if you just watch it like really quickly, you probably don't notice it. The biggest thing for me is that it looks like the people that they're sending from the present to the future are falling from the sky, because there's that shot of Chris Pratt falling and then kind of like barely misses the concrete and he lands in a pool. It looks like they're falling from the sky. So they're basically killing the people they've been recruiting. Like, I don't know. That just seems kind of weird. But there's probably, probably a better way to bring someone back, just say. But the Tomorrow War will open on July 2nd. So that's probably going to be the big 4th of July movie for everyone to watch, at least from the comfort of your own home. So yeah, there is that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This was originally supposed to come out in theaters, but then Amazon Prime Video kind of yanked that up. So there's that. The next trailer we're going to talk about is The Last Night in Soho. This is the first trailer for Edgar Wright's newest psychological horror film. That's right, Edgar Wright, the director of movies like Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Baby Driver, he's making his first psychological horror movie, and it looks good. The film will follow Thomasin McKenzie, who I just mentioned, from Jojo Rabbit, in case you guys needed a movie to her name. She's the girl from Jojo Rabbit. At least that's the thing that most people will know her from. I knew her from another movie before Jojo Rabbit. She was in a movie called Without a Trace, which is very good. I think that was kind of her first. I think that was her first movie, or at least one of her first like major movies. So, but she's really good. So it's glad to see that she's getting a lot more movie roles, especially with big directors. But anyway, the film follows Thomasin McKenzie's Eloise, who somehow finds herself unexpectedly back in the 1960s, and is mysteriously connected to Anya Taylor-Joy's character Sandy, who is an idol of Louise's and a singer. But not all is what it seems. The movie does look like it's messing around with time, at least from how the trailer is put. It looks like Eloise, every time she goes to sleep, she's waking up in her dreams as Anya Taylor-Joy's character. And it looks like maybe Anya Taylor-Joy's character Sandy maybe is involved in something she's not supposed to be in, and maybe gets murdered, and it's kind of blurring the lines. The past world is kind of bleeding into her world a little bit, Eloise's world anyway. But yeah, it's very interesting. Matt Smith is in the movie. He co-stars along with Terrence Stamp. This movie is co-written by Wright and by Christy Wilson Cairns. I think that's how you pronounce the last name. She was the one of the writers on 1917. She was also a staff writer on the early seasons of Penny Dreadful. So she has a knack for her horror, psychological thriller, horror, ghost stories. So this looks pretty good. This looks really, really good. Obviously, it's very different from Wright's past work. I mean, you can arguably say that, Shaun of the Dead was a horror movie, but this looks like a full-blown horror movie and not a, horror comedy or anything like that. So this looks really good. Thomasin McKenzie's in there. Anya Taylor-Joy's in there. They're always really good. There's those really awesome shots. There's a really awesome shot that a lot of people have been admiring, and it's a shot of Anya Taylor-Joy's character. I think she's dancing with, I'm assuming it's Matt Smith's character, but she does like a little twist, and then when she comes back around, it's Thomasin McKenzie. So I think that was really cool, and the fact that he's playing around with that. And if it's going to be like that the whole time, then I'm all for it, because obviously anytime we see those kind of tricks, it's always really cool. So And Wright is one of those guys who can easily pull that off. So I'm really looking forward to this. I have been looking forward to this, and we're finally going to watch it. Last Night in Soho will open on October 22nd of this year. So go do yourself a favor and go check out that trailer if you haven't yet. The next trailer we're talking about is the first trailer for Netflix's awesome-looking Gunpowder Milkshake. Yes, that is what that is what the movie is called. And again, it just looks really, really cool. The movie follows Karen Gillan as Sam, an assassin whose latest job goes wrong when she refuses to kill an 18-year-old girl named Emily, played by Chloe Coleman from My Spy, the movie with Dave Bautista that came out last year. And her employer, played by Paul Giamatti, has no choice to put a bounty on her head, and this leads to Sam tracking down her mother, played by Cersei herself, Lena Headey, who is also an assassin, to help her survive and take down anyone that gets in their way. Angela Bassett, Michelle Yeoh, and Carla Gugino all co-star as the librarians. They kind of kick off the trailer. They're obviously, their cover is librarians, and it looks like they give all the weapons to Sam at the beginning, and it looks like, of course, in the trailer at least, it looks like they're going to be helping her along the way as well. Gunpowder Milkshake will stream on Netflix on July 14th, unless you live internationally, because you'll be seeing this movie in theaters this summer. I think also around that time. I forgot to put down the date for that. But this looks really cool. I'm getting, obviously, John Wick vibes, anytime, a really stylistic action movie comes out with, again, stylistic fight scenes and gunplay and martial arts, everyone's going to think John Wick or The Raid. I'm also getting shoot 'em up vibes, I think mainly because of Paul Giamatti, because Paul Giamatti wasn't shoot 'em up. That was a movie with Clive Owen. I'm getting kind of that a little bit. I think it's just because of Paul Giamatti's character, or the fact that Paul Giamatti's in it. Although his character looks very different. It looks like he's the head of this organization, obviously, and it looks like he works for, the Sam, Karen Gillan's character works for him. So this is pretty cool. I've been looking forward to this because I've been seeing updates and stuff, and I've been seeing like behind the scenes videos of Karen Gillan. She puts it up. She was putting up, behind the scenes stuff with her and Lena Headey on set and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to this. I really am. I think this is going to be really cool. It looks cool. It looks awesome. I'm all for it. So there you go. All right, and the big trailer that came out this week is obviously, of course, Marvel released the first teaser trailer to their much anticipated and intriguing new film, Eternals, directed by Chloe Zhao, and having an all-star big-name cast like Richard Madden, Gemma Chan, Kumail Nanjiani, Brian T.B. Henry, Salma Hayek, Don Lee from Train to Busan, Barry Keoghan, Kit Harington, and of course, Angelina Jolie. Those are the big names. Obviously, there's also other names in there. Lauren Ridloff from The Walking Dead and Sound the Metal. She plays one of the Eternals, and Leah McHugh from the TV series American Woman is also in there as well. What's the movie about? Who knows? we don't know. The teaser somewhat establishes who the Eternals are or what they are. They are people who came to Earth and have been living here for thousands of years in hiding. That is until now when something or someone forces them to come out of hiding. There is that. The trailer was met kind of with a lukewarm reaction from fans online. Of course, the question of hindsight, some obviously was, where were these group of immortal people when Thanos came to Earth, or when all these other Marvel villains tried to destroy the planet? Where were they? Were they blipped away? Did they decide? Were they not blipped away and decide, what, screw it, this isn't our fight? We don't know. And that kind of begs a bigger question, is because the end of the trailer is one of them, McHugh's character, who she plays Spirit or Sprite, ask who's going to lead the Avengers now that Tony Stark and Steve Rogers are gone. And Richard Madden's character, he plays Icarus. He says, why not him? And then they all laugh. So I kind of like that bit. It kind of shows, that they are a family and they care about each other. But obviously we have to see how, this movie turns out. Personally, I think the trailer looks fantastic. The movie will probably end up looking fantastic. Chloe Zhao was very adamant about filming pretty much everything on location, and Kevin Feige has said as much. So at least, everything that we see will be great to look at and beautiful to look at. The cast is pretty great. I just mentioned all those names. I mean, that's a pretty big cast. It's a pretty big cast for just one solo movie that doesn't have Avengers in front of it, or doesn't have Captain America, Civil War or anything like that in front of it. And personally, I'm ready to be introduced to a new cast of characters. We don't really know anything about the Eternals. Anyone who tells you they know stuff about the Eternals is either a very, very big comic book nerd and a very big Marvel fan, or is lying to you, honestly. So I don't really know. As far as teasers go, I think it's okay. I didn't know what to expect from it, honestly. I didn't know what to expect from an Eternals trailer. Again, because I don't know anything about the Eternals. Not really. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that I know, stuff about the Eternals. I don't. But as far as a teaser goes, as far as a Marvel teaser goes, it was okay. It was. It wasn't, it's a hard sell on characters that you don't really know. And you can arguably say that about, Guardians of the Galaxy when they first came out. The thing about Guardians of the Galaxy, though, is that they were telling you up front, this is going to be an action comedy kind of movie. And these characters are kind of, the wacky characters that, no one's heard of and, not many people know about. And we're going to throw them into this kind of action comedic moment. Yeah, we're going to have serious moments in it, but you're not going to see that until you watch the movie. Eternals played it completely, up until that very end, played it completely serious. And obviously we have to wait and see, kind of how that plays out. I'm not losing faith in Marvel. I am the last person to be like, Marvel movies are okay. No, I love Marvel movies. I really do. Can I see the flaws in them? Of course I can. I think you're not really a true fan unless, you can see the flaws in the things that you love, but, or the things that you like at the very least. But, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it because I'm interested in seeing kind of, what they're going to do, how this will play out with the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what's going to happen. That's what I'm more interested in. So Eternals will open on November 5th. It will open in theaters. Hopefully by then we'll all, kind of go back somewhat to normal, although I highly doubt it. But, me, ever the pessimist. So there's that. All right. There were other trailers that came out this week. They were also down below. There was a new trailer for The Wolves Within, which opens on June 25th. That's based off a multiplayer VR game, although from what I've read, it's very different from the VR game. So there is that. It's a dark comedy horror movie, so that's enough for you to say. There's also a trailer for False Positive, which comes out on Hulu on the 25th as well. That also comes from A24. That stars Alana Glazer, Justin Theroux, Sophia Bush, and Pierce Brosnan. It's kind of basically a Rosemary's Baby movie. It's kind of what it is, really. When you think about it, when you watch the trailer, you immediately get Rosemary's Baby, or even when you read the synopsis, you get Rosemary's Baby. So there's that. There was the first trailer for Escape Room Tournament of Champions, which opens on July 16th. This is the much moved around and delayed sequel to Escape Room. The trailer felt like it gave a lot away, although the first trailer for the first movie also felt like it gave a lot away too. But this one really looks like it gave a lot of stuff away. So there is that. And then someone actually says, what is this, a Tournament of Champions line? And that was very cringeworthy. But that opens on July 16th, if you're interested in that. And then we finally got a new trailer for Jungle Cruise, which will open in theaters and Disney Plus's Premium Access on July 30th. This is very cool. Looks very good. I'm looking forward to Jungle Cruise. I was already sold on Jungle Cruise, pretty much from the cast itself. You got Dwayne Johnson in there. You got Emily Blunt. You got Jesse Plemons, who's playing a German villain, who we finally see in this teaser very quickly. Edgar Ramirez, Jake Whitehall, and Paul Giamatti. Speaking of Paul Giamatti, he's in this as well. I'm looking forward to this. So I was already sold, and this trailer is really cool. It does give off a little bit more of a Pirates of the Caribbean vibe a little bit, because obviously there's like kind of, so the movie, it's based off the ride, but it's obviously expanding on it. It's Emily Blunt plays a doctor who wants to find this tree that supposedly is the key to changing medicine forever, and she hires Dwayne Johnson, who is a riverboat captain, and they go on this epic adventure, and obviously everything in the jungle is trying to kill them, so, and people are also trying to kill them. So I'm looking forward to it. I was already looking forward to it. I think it looks great. So there was a new quick trailer for that if you want to go check that out. All right, so like I mentioned, all the links to the trailers down below in the description/show notes area if you want to go check that out. If you want to go watch the trailers for the first time or watch them again. So there you go. All right, let's move on to this week's movie news items of the week. All right, so let's talk about the big movie news items of the week. The first one we're going to talk about is one that we talked about last week, and it's finally, well, it's not official, but it is official that it's happening. Amazon has officially acquired MGM for $8.45 billion. That's right. That's billion with a B. MGM itself was founded, of course, in 1924. It's one of the oldest, or at least one of the most prestige studios. Not the oldest, but at least one of the most prestige studios out there. And MGM did release a statement saying that Amazon will, quote, help preserve why did that sound weird? MGM's heritage and catalog of films and provide customers with great access to these existing works. The purchase also gives Amazon more than 4,000 movies and 17,000 TV shows, including franchises like the Rocky Creed franchise, Tomb Raider, and the big one, the James Bond series, and of course, tons and tons more. That is, of course, once the deal gets the regulatory approval and other routine closing conditions, kind of similar to when Disney bought Fox. There was that, period of them, having to, get everything approved and stuff like that. So that's what Amazon and MGM have to go through. But insiders believe that the pact will be approved by the end of the year, so it won't be that long of a wait. So again, despite the deal not being complete until the end of the year, potentially, the Bond franchise's next film, No Time to Die, will stick to its theater release of October 8th. Again, permitting that there isn't another crazy outbreak of COVID, and will continue to release movies in theaters from the James Bond franchise. That is at least according to the Aeon Productions heads and James Bond producers themselves, Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson. If you're wondering where the Aeon Productions comes from into place, MGM has the right to finance and distribute all Bond movies, and the studio splits the profits with Aeon, or Eon, I don't know. Forget how they pronounce it. However, Broccoli's heirs and Aeon's chiefs, again, Barbara Broccoli and her half-brother Michael G. Wilson, still have final say on everything in the film's marketing and distribution plans. So there is that, if you're wondering where, all that comes from. But the bigger deal here is obviously that Amazon has officially acquired MGM for a lot of money. This is really big. And it should be interesting to kind of see where Amazon goes from this and where, they take MGM from here. What does that mean for all the movies that are currently in the pipeline for MGM? Will, they be slapped with the, Amazon Studios or Prime Video sticker at the beginning of everything like that? So, Amazon, Prime Video, whatever you want to call them, they have been acquiring movies for a lot recently. This past year and even the year before, they've been acquiring a lot of movies. The Tomorrow War was one of them. Without Remorse was another. The Borat movie was, another one as well. So they've been, buying stuff up, and they've been really trying to be a competitor to all the other streaming services and try to be someone who can, be up there and stick with them for the most part. And I think now with the purchase of MGM, this could really, pay off for them and be in their favor because, again, they have access to a lot. MGM has been, like I mentioned, MGM has been around for a long time. It's one of the first studios, and if not the first studios, one of the at least oldest studios in Hollywood as well. So that's a lot of movies, 4,000 movies and 17,000 TV shows. That is impressive in itself. And I think it's going to be, again, once everything goes through, will be, everyone's going to have their eyes on Amazon and Prime Video and seeing what they do with the MGM properties for sure. All right, so let's move on to the next movie news item. Anna Wingard has found yet another project. This time at Universal Pictures, Wingard will direct and co-write an adaptation of Robert Kirkman and Image Comics series Hardcore. The story for the comic, which was also created by Mark Silvestri, I don't want to leave anybody out because obviously Robert Kirkman's name is everywhere, so everyone knows Kirkman's name. But it follows Agent Drake and the Hardcore program in a reality where any person can be turned into a human drone to get to targets that normal soldiers can't. Drake is their best soldier, and his skills are put to the test when he gets stranded in a body with only 72 hours to discover who's hijacked the program. Will he be able to pull out all the stops against an enemy who could be literally anyone? No word yet on when this will go into production, since Wingard is also attached to direct the Face Off sequel, a hybrid CGI Thundercats movie, and a potential continuation movie to the Monsterverse, which he has not officially signed on for, but Warner Brothers is trying their best to get him on board. So, he's a very busy man. And Wingard, and this sounds pretty cool. I've heard of Hardcore, but I've never read it. So this sounds pretty cool. Especially depending on who they end up casting, for sure. All right, let's move on. Mark Rylance from Bridge of Spies, Dunkirk, Ready Player One, the BFG. He has joined Luca. I always mispronounce his last name, and I don't know why. I really do not know why, because I learn it and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna remember his last name, how to say his last name on the next podcast whenever his name pops up again, and then it pops up and I forget. Luca and I'm very sorry. Now I'm self-conscious. Guadagnino, he's the director of A Bigger Splash, Suspiria, the Suspiria remake, and Call Me By Your Name. His newest movie, Bones and All. He will reunite with his Bigger Splash and Suspiria writer Dave, another person who has a name I will not be able to pronounce, Kajanitz? That's not how you say it. I know that's not how you say it, and I apologize to both these men, who will write the script, which is based off a novel of the same name by Camila De Angelis. That is a name I can pronounce, apparently. Bones and All follows a young teenager named Marin Yearly on a cross-country road trip as she searches for her father. I apparently can't talk anymore. Abandoned by her mother at age 16, she longs to figure out her urge for flesh, understanding that anytime someone begins to show her affection, she eats them. That's right. It's cannibals, baby. Taylor Russell from Netflix's Lost in Space, Waves, and Escape Room. She will appear in the first one, and she will appear in the second one. Will play our main actor, our character, Marin Yearly. Timothee Chalamet is also part of the cast. He will play Lee, a fellow cannibal she meets along the road. Rylance's role is unknown at the moment. He could maybe play the mother, maybe another cannibal along the way, or maybe someone that both of them end up meeting along the way. Who knows? Production will begin soon. So there is that to take into consideration. And I hate that I can't say his last name. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of Chalamet, that's right. Warner Brothers. You probably saw this and you were probably like, what? Warner Brothers' origin story of Willy Wonka, titled Wonka, has found its lead in Timothée Chalamet. Deadline broke the news, reporting that the movie will feature several musical numbers and that Chalamet beat out Tom Holland, both of which were the top candidates for the role, which was reported back in January. So we kind of already knew that, but I honestly forgot about it. So there's that. Paul King, who directed Paddington, will direct this movie. He will also co-write the movie with Simon Farabee, who wrote Paddington 2. Wonka will feature or focus on Willy Wonka's youthful adventures prior to his opening of the world-famous chocolate factory. No word yet on if the Oompa Loompas will appear, but I wouldn't put it past them. Warner Brothers has already given the movie a March 17th, 2023 release. So obviously, if they start shooting soon, it seems like Chalamet will probably shoot Bones and All first, and then Wonka, and then go from there. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But there's we're getting a Willy Wonka origin story movie. Do we need one? Probably not. No. Do we need Timothée Chalamet to play Willy Wonka? No, probably not, but we're getting it anyway, so there you go. Moving on, the new Evil Dead movie has found a new home. It will come out online/streaming service instead of in the theater because Evil Dead Rise, which is the name of the movie, will be coming out through HBO Max. We do know now that the movie will follow two estranged sisters who need to overcome their differences in order to survive an attack from the undead. Or at least the demon-possessed dead, not the undead, because the undead zombies. These are demons. Anyway, the sisters will be played by Alison Sutherland. She's mostly known for the History Channel show Vikings, and Lily Sullivan, who she's kind of still new in Hollywood, so she doesn't have a lot of things that people will recognize her from. The Evil Dead Rise will be directed by Lee Cronin, who directed the movie The Hole in the Ground, which got some kind of relatively some love from a lot of people. I have not seen it. I have heard some decent things about it, but I'm not gonna plant my flag on them just yet. And the movie will begin filming in New Zealand, or will start filming in New Zealand. Has started filming in New Zealand. It's kind of unclear if they've already started filming or not, but they will film in New Zealand this year. So it's possible we could see the movie next year. There is no release date for the movie. They have not announced it despite the news, but there's that. Original director Sam Raimi and face and star of the franchise Bruce Campbell will executive produce the new movie. This is pretty cool. We don't know where it will fall in the timeline. We don't know if this will be a continuation of Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead movie. Will it be a continuation of Sam Raimi's movie? Will it just be a completely new timeline or new reimagining of the Evil Dead? We don't know. But obviously, there has been talks that the movie will be placed inside a city and not a cabin. There was also talks that it will take place in a high rise. We don't know anything about that yet, but it will not take place inside the cabin. It will take place somewhere else, which will be very, very interesting and very cool. Unless you watch, unless you watched, it's not on anymore, Ash versus Evil Dead, because it wasn't set in the cabin, it was set in this, small town. But this is still pretty cool. I'm looking forward to this. I know they've been talking about this for years, and I'm not disappointed that it's coming out on HBO Max, but obviously it'll make it easier for everyone to watch. But I was kind of looking forward to seeing a new Evil Dead movie in theaters, but All right, and let's move on to the next movie news item, potentially, again, depending on the time of this recording, the last movie news item of the week. Sony Pictures' solo Kraven the Hunter movie has found its lead in Aaron Taylor Johnson, the man from recently Tenet. He was also Kick-Ass. He was also Quicksilver, or Pietro, in Avengers: Age of Ultron, and of course a bunch of other stuff as well. But he's been cast as the lead in Kraven the Hunter, aka Kraven himself. The movie will be directed by J.C. Candor, who has directed films like The Most Violent Year and Triple Frontier, which is the Netflix movie, with the script being done by the duo of Art Markham and Matt Holloway. They have written movies like Iron Man, the first Iron Man, Punisher Warzone, Transformers: The Last Night, Men in Black International, and the upcoming Uncharted movie, and also had a hand in writing the new He-Man movie, Masters of the Universe. They are writing the script along Richard Wink, who scripted films like The Mechanic, The Expendables 2, The Magnificent Seven remake, and The Equalizer 2. So there you go. Reportedly, Taylor Johnson has signed on to play Kraven in multiple movies, whatever that means. So there is that. And for those not in the know, Kraven, born Sergei Kravenov, is a big game hunter who likes to take down his prey with his bare hands. He eventually meets a witch doctor who gives him a potion that enhances his senses and powers and slows down the aging process. To prove himself to the world that he is the greatest game hunter, Kraven wants to take down the ultimate prey, Spider-Man. Sony, we don't know what they're going to do, if this is part of their, eventual, Sony Pictures, Marvel Universe, whatever the hell they call it, or if this is just going to be a one-off. It should be interesting, because obviously Sony's been trying to get a Sinister Six movie off the ground for a while, with some other villains obviously getting their own movies like Venom and Morbius. That's where some people are kind of thinking that maybe this is where this is going. But, the ever wondering is, the Sony movies connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Are they their own thing? Are they blurry? Is there somewhat connection to them? Because obviously, Vulture, Michael Keaton's character, will appear in Morbius in some way, shape, or form. There's talks that maybe Tom Holland will appear in Venom, Let There Be Carnage. What will this do? Obviously, Aaron Taylor Johnson is already part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Although, if they're already recasting people, it's fine, because Luke Cage had someone that was in the woman that I cannot remember her name, the actress's name, and it infuriates me because I actually do like her as an actress. The lady that Tony Stark meets in Captain America: Civil War after his presentation, where she kind of talks down to him because her son was murdered in Sokovia. She ended up being in Luke Cage as a different character altogether. There's also Gemma Chan, who was in Captain Marvel. She played Minerva. She's also now going to be in Eternals. So, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, honestly, but I think, we'll have to wait and see kind of what they do with that. But if this ends up being its own thing, if this is just a Sony Pictures thing, I think it'd be really cool. Aaron Taylor Johnson, I don't know. I think he's good. I want to say he's good. I think it just depends on what they give him. I think he does. What was the other movie? Nocturnal Animals. That was the other movie that I know him from. He played a really slimy character, and he played it off really, really great. And obviously Kraven, depending on how they go with him, Kraven's kind of always been kind of this somewhat intense character. Obviously, he's a game hunter who wants to take down his game with his bare hands. It says a lot about a person in general, not just in comic books, just in general. That says a lot about a person. So depending on where they go with this, I think it'll be interesting. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson's casting is really cool, because I think Aaron Taylor Johnson, he does have the range to play different characters and stuff like that. Again, see Nocturnal, and obviously a lot of people know we knew him from Kick-Ass, where he was playing this nerdy character, but since then he's been playing these kind of like these twisted characters, these slimy characters, like I mentioned, Nocturnal Animals, these characters who are mission driven, like in Tenet. So I like the casting. I think it's a really good casting. he wouldn't be my first choice, but I think if they sign him on for multiple movies, obviously, I think it'll be pretty cool. Obviously, it will depend on how, he portrays the character and everything like that. So it will be really interesting. But Kraven the Hunter does currently have a release date of January 13th, 2023. So probably be hearing a little bit more about Kraven the Hunter more frequently sooner rather than later if they keep that release date for sure. So that's it. That's all the movie news I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Obviously, if anything drops, if I have enough time, I'll drop it right here. If not, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. I very much appreciate it. You guys know I appreciate it because I say it every time I do this podcast. I very much appreciate you guys, no matter where you're listening. If you're listening to this on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on Spotify, I very much appreciate you guys listening. Wherever you're listening to this, though, please give us a like, a favorite, heart, thumbs up, a rating, whatever it is. It helps out the podcast in the long run. So it really does. So please do that for me. I really appreciate it. I'm on my knees, please. Pretty pleased. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all that. Obviously, hopefully everyone enjoys their Memorial Day weekend, their long weekend. Hopefully you are safe and sound with your families. But obviously, continue to be safe out there. Continue to wear your masks. Doesn't matter if you're vaccinated, keep wearing your mask because you don't know if the people around you are vaccinated or not. So please continue to wear your mask. Continue to wash your hands. Continue to safe distance. And as always, please enjoy yourself. Have a good weekend and go watch some movies.
Whoop whoop! Yeah! Give it up! Movies!